r/nosleep. Posted by u/not_nexisarily. I'm a night guard at a local subway station. I found a second user manual outlining some disturbing rules. Part 1. I was desperate for a job. I was in my final years of college and I had lots of student loans built up. As soon as I saw the night guard job advert in the local newspaper, I knew I was fit for the job. I usually stay up late each night anyways, so it won't make a difference to my schedule. I realized I could also just chill on my phone the whole shift and get paid for it. We had a small local subway station for our town. It only had one platform and few trains ever went there. The subway station itself was very old, only used by the local town people. Recently the old night guard for the subway station had retired and they needed someone to take over the position. As soon as I called, they immediately hired me. Looks like this wasn't a popular job. Let me give you a little description of the subway station. I've only ever been to the station a few times. So basically, you walk down the stairs to get to the subway. Yes, it's underground. Then you will see the long tracks extending forever on either side of you and also a short platform for boarding the train. On the platform to your right would be a ticket and also a security guard booth. Nowadays you can just tap your Metro card, so the booth was used as a security guard booth. Since it was an old subway station, the lighting also wasn't very good. It was very poorly lit and had a very creepy vibe to it. There were shadows everywhere and the light was so dim it took your eyes a while to adjust and be able to see your surroundings. So anyways, here I was now making my way to my little security booth. The day guard shook hands with me and as he left wished me good luck. Who the hell wishes you good luck as they leave you to your shift? I ignored it and got myself settled. I read through the boring instruction manual that outlined basic evacuation procedures and what to do in unlikely scenarios like a bomb threat. My shift was from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. I was about to just go on my phone and scroll through Reddit, when my eye caught on a single piece of paper. It was titled "Must Read Important Rules." The title was overwhelming and written in big red blocky letters. I picked up the sheet and read it. This is what it said. If you see a man in a black tuxedo and bright red leather bag walk in asking for a ticket, say "I don't work here" and immediately turn around. He will not be there when you turn back around. If you see a black figure in camera number 4, quickly look away and never look at the camera again. If you start hearing whistling, get the out immediately. Around 12 a.m. you may see a woman with an umbrella come into the subway station. She will be walking facing away from you. Do not under any circumstances try to look at the woman's face. If you see yourself staring at you from any of the cameras, immediately cover up that camera. You may hear yourself speaking telling you to come out. Stay put in your booth and do not come out. If the door to your booth starts shaking and starts to open, push the door closed as hard as you can. Do not let the door open. An extension to Rule 4, if you see yourself staring at you from the booth window, immediately look away and hold the door shut as hard as you can. If you notice that the clock on the wall has stopped working, immediately hide under the desk and do not come out until you start hearing the ticking of the clock again. At 3:03 a.m. a weird-looking train will come. You will hear it from its distinct horn that doesn't sound like any other train. Carefully look out and see if anyone steps out of the train. If you see even a single person depart that train, immediately grab the handgun in your drawer and shoot them, no matter who the person is. If the train departs and you still haven't shot the person, it is too late. Your clock, phone or any device that shows the time will try to deceive you. They will show the time incorrectly and instead show your shift and time. They are trying to get you to come out. If you feel like the time isn't right, stay put in your booth and wait until morning and you see people walking into the subway station. Apart from the weird train that will come, you should only see one other normal train arrive at the station at exactly 11 p.m. That will be the last train until 5 a.m. If you see any other train arrive at the station, know you are not tripping, hide in your booth and wait it out until morning. If you break any of the above underlined rules, we are no longer responsible for your safety. We will nonetheless come to collect you in the morning if anything goes wrong. The safest place at the station if you break the rules is on the tracks. The subway management team. The rules sounded totally fake. Suddenly a man in a black tuxedo came inside the station. He knocked on the glass. My heartbeat flew like a plane as I saw the man in the black tuxedo ask me for a ticket. My body was suddenly frozen on the spot. I was unable to speak. My voice got trapped in my throat. I barely managed to choke out, "No, I don't work here." The man suddenly seemed confused. His face slowly got even more distorted. His left eye got larger and larger, his nose bent at awkward angles and his mouth twisted impossibly long. I grimaced at the sight and nearly threw up my dinner on the floor. The man turned away and literally crawled out of the station before his body got so messed up he'd be unable to move. Well, I just experienced the first rule. I'll update throughout the night. I'm definitely not coming back after this shift. I was very traumatized after seeing a man turn into some messed up organism right in front of my eyes. I just sat in my booth rereading the rules again and again. It was so dark in here that I had to use the small lamp on the table next to me. They really need to fix the lights here. Yeah, I also realized I had already broken the first rule. Hopefully, other than traumatizing me, it didn't do much damage. This is going to be a great shift. The first thing I tried was to walk out, but I could see movements in my peripheral vision. They got closer as I moved towards the exit. The shadows in the station elongated towards me and I got a horrible gut feeling. I'm telling you, I won't even make it a few steps outside the station if I exit before the end of my shift. I ran back to my booth and just sat there. It felt like the shadows themselves were watching me. Suddenly I saw movement in one of the cameras. There it was, a dark figure. No, I can't even call it a figure. It was a literal monster. It was worse than your worst nightmare. It had 4 arms, or were they tentacles? They each ended in a razor-sharp point. Were those eyes all over its body? It had red beads-like things over its whole body. They reminded me of small bright red jewels on a pitch-black fabric. It had things coming out of its mouth. That's all I can call them, things. They weren't like tentacles, they were twisted and curled like worms, as if it was vomiting its whole brain out. It had legs like the fins of a fish. Thin and floppy. How was it even standing straight? Suddenly it dawned on me. I quickly tore my eyes off the camera feed. I covered the camera feed with my jacket. The whole image of the creature had been fully etched into my brain and I was shaking uncontrollably. I swear I hadn't looked for too long. Chills ran up my spine as I heard a high-pitched whistle. It sounded excited and hungry. More shrill whistles echoed around the dark subway station. My whole body was frozen on the spot and I swear the creature could hear my panicked heartbeat. The whistles got louder and louder as if they were coming closer. A black sticky liquid oozed out from underneath the door of my booth. I backed up and the second time this night nearly lost my dinner on the floor. My stomach must be very strong. The liquid bubbled and seeped in very slowly. It didn't have a color. It was the color of nothingness. I was mesmerized by its color. It was the color you see in between your dreams at night. It was the color a blind man would see. I suddenly saw the same creature I saw in the camera feed now literally touching the glass of my booth. I let out a sharp yelp as the creature suddenly moved towards the door and the doorknob started rattling. Then I heard another sound, a sound that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Just when I thought I couldn't experience any more fear than what I was currently experiencing. All my muscles locked up, I was literally frozen in fear. The sound was indescribable. It was a mixture of moans and laughter, crying and shouting. It was a sound nothing can recreate. The sound blared like a horn and my brain suddenly processed what was happening. The phantom train was coming. The creature that was at the door of my booth looked scared too. It spasmed all over like a fish out of water. Suddenly it turned around and ran or slithered, I don't even know what word to use for its movement. Looks like I just survived breaking another rule. The phantom train came in. Have you guys watched Thomas the Tank Engine? Yeah, that's exactly how the train looked like. It had a human face embedded into its front. Other than that, the train was fairly normal and it came to a stop on the platform. I couldn't erase the image of the face of the train looking at me as it stopped by. It had an unnatural grin on its face. Its eyes way too big and cartoony. It took a lot of effort to snap out of it and pick the handgun out of the drawer under my desk. It was already loaded. I did not want to break this rule. Even the creature that came after me was scared of this train. I honestly do not want to face whatever comes out of the train. Something deep in my gut told me that if this time I failed to follow the rule, I won't make it out of this subway. Guess who came out? It was my little sister. She's recently turned 15. She walked out looking dazed like she had just woken up. She looked around and saw the train station. Her eyes lit up and soon as she saw me, I pointed the gun at her and her face crossed over with fear and concern. She told me to put the gun down. She asked me why I was doing this. Suddenly the train blared its hideous horn and its doors started to shut. My sister looked back equally disgusted at the sound. I pushed the trigger. It all happened in slow motion. The handgun made a loud sound that echoed all across the subway station. The bullet pierced the back of my sister's head and made blood splatter everywhere. My sister dropped like a stone and blood gushed out of her wound like a waterfall. It pooled all around her lifeless body. The train left, its horn mocking me. I quickly ran back to my booth and broke down. I cried for what seemed like hours and screamed at the subway station. She seemed so real. Was it actually her body laying there? Did I just take the life of my sister? No, I couldn't have. No, 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 no. I am trying to calm down by typing this up. It's still only 3:20 AM and I have around 2 hours to go before my shift ends. I don't think I'll make it. This isn't a subway station, it's a portal to hell.